OCO. It means hello in Cherokee, my native language. I didn't hear that word until I was 20 years old. Being Cherokee has always been a big part of who I am, and yet throughout my young life, the language was so far out of reach, generationally and physically. Even when I first heard the word OCO, it was on a cassette tape as I tried to learn my language by playing it over and over. Ama, water. Gadu, bread. Aktadegi, I'm thirsty. Agiyosi, I'm hungry. To my ancestors, these words were just a part of everyday life. To many Cherokees today, they still are and have always been. And yet, my story is not uncommon. I am an enrolled citizen of the Cherokee Nation, although I was raised in Dallas, Texas, away from the community and our land base in northeastern Oklahoma. I made the journey back to my community and extended family in the summer of 2004 through a job with the Cherokee Nation's Environmental Protection Office. So this is me just starting out in 2004 with my Aunt Barbara McAllister in the center and the Director of Cherokee Nation Environmental Programs, Nancy John, to the left. I remember that time, sleeping on my cousin's couch because he refused to let me stay at a dingy local motel. My supervisor tasked me with developing a tribal ethnobotany project, and I began by forming relationships with elders and knowledge keepers throughout our rural communities. By the end of the summer, as I made my way to Berkeley, California, I knew where I wanted my future graduate studies to go. I also realized that I needed to tend to these relationships in order for the work to be successful. My summer work in Oklahoma over the next 4 years led to the formation in 2008 of the Cherokee Nation Medicine Keepers, a group of elders raised with land-based knowledge who are making a concerted effort toward its continued use and revitalization among younger generations. And this is the group receiving a Community Leadership Award at our annual tribal holiday. I see our collective work as combating the ongoing symptoms of colonialism, language loss, land loss, and alienation from culture and community. We've done a lot together in the past 11 years, but perhaps the work I am most proud of is a recent photo voice project funded by the National Institutes of Health, in which the elders and I collaborated on the relationship between land and health. A photo voice project distributes cameras to a group of individuals who decide on a theme that they will photographically document in order to foster dialogue about community-defined issues. And this is David Crawler and Anna Sixkiller at our medicine gardens in Tahlequah during the project demo. The goal of our project was to promote the conservation of tribal lands and resources within the Cherokee Nation. We produced a 30-minute still image documentary titled Cherokee Voices for the Land. And here are just a few of their photographs. The full video is available on YouTube if you want to check it out. In the video, the elders relate their land-based knowledge, reflect on landscape change in their lifetimes, critique environmental degradation, and imagine alternatives to the dominant ways of interacting with the land as an endless and lifeless resource. They collectively declare that indeed our health comes from the land itself. In the fall of 2015, we surveyed 84 tribal citizens before and after screening the video. We found statistically significant changes in their opinions and priorities regarding the tribe's role in land conservation. Our conclusions were that photo voice is an effective method to communicate elders' perspectives, and that our citizens' values about tribal land use may change as they encounter these perspectives in such novel formats. The project shows how collaborative, community-based work can and should inform tribal policy decisions regarding environmental issues. More broadly, it speaks to the fact that Indigenous knowledge and perspectives have a lot to say about our changing climate and how we might address the pressing issues of our time. Indigenous leaders the world over have been insisting for generations that we must view other than human beings as relatives, not resources. How might this alternative perspective offer radical insight for the technocratic approach to the critical age we live in today? Although Indigenous peoples have spent the past 500 years resisting destructive practices and mindsets, we don't have the luxury of another 500 to ponder these questions. I find hope in Indigenous resilience. Despite the fact that hundreds of years of genocide, displacement, and oppressive policies toward our cultures and religions, despite all the harm that this has caused, we are living proof of the ultimate failure of colonialism. This failure can be seen in the myriad tribal programs today that show our vitality and our continued strength. Our languages and land-based ways of life are resurging through language immersion programs and land education initiatives that push back against colonial policies that once sought to eliminate us. And more intimately, I find hope in the fact that I can wake up in the morning to greet my young daughter, and that her reply can simply but profoundly be, OCO. Thank you.